Hello and welcome to the final edition of Pakistan's Road to Ahmedabad. You can tell that I'm being a little optimistic right now, but for this video, I think we will be previewing Pakistan's last two games, right? It's New Zealand and England. A bit different to 4 years ago, right, Zahid, where we had the two lesser teams at the end. This time we've got two heavyweights, especially England in Kolkata.
Couple of things to say. First, look, it's going to be interesting because New Zealand is the only day game in Bengaluru, which I think is fair in the sense it probably will be the fairest match in terms of conditions because there will be no dew or anything. For all our conspiracy theorists, Pakistan play England last. And as some people might remember, India played England last in the 2019 World Cup, where Pakistan needed India to win. So, in a weird turn of fate, Pakistan might need to beat England.
I don't think India played England last. India had another game that they lost. Oh, that they won, which is why the ordering changed. It was the last meaningful game.
Yeah, I mean...
But yes, but I get the point. And maybe we will have India hoping for a Pakistan win.
Just so that they can finish first or second in the group.
So yeah, subcontinent combining against the colonial masters. But never mind. Let's go New Zealand first, right? New Zealand are sort of the most difficult. I know people say it's Pakistan and people have said West Indies, but New Zealand are one of the most difficult teams to predict, right? On paper, they never feature in the top 4 or top 5 on paper, but somehow they always find their mojo earlier on in the tournament, hold that momentum right until the finishing line where they just end up a bit short. Will it be the same this time? I have a feeling this time it won't.
Yeah, I mean, they've shown great potential chasing 345 in 43 overs. But I think it will be the opposite of the warm-up match. Rizwan will flop and Pakistan will win. There you go. That's my prediction done. But look, I think it's going to be at a point at, late in the tournament, Pakistan would have finally found the right combination, regardless of how the results have gone. Unless it's like a must-win game for New Zealand and Pakistan are already out, then maybe, New Zealand might win. But overall, I think Pakistan are stronger, especially in Indian conditions. But Pakistan need to find a way to get Kane Williamson out. I have never seen him flop against Pakistan. It's one of those things where he always finds a way to get a 50, 60. Just Pakistan take a couple of early wickets.
Yeah, and even when Kane Williamson looks very ordinary at the start, he just finds a way. Rotating strike, doing the basic things right. Something just clicks at the right time, and even though he looks very average, without knowing it, he'll be at 50 at run a ball, and then he'll accelerate. But I think, and just to remind you, 2019 was when he flopped against Shadab Khan. So Shadab Khan,
I wouldn't say complete flop. He got like a 20-30, because they were 30 for 3 and then
Kane Williamson standards at 20-30. Oh, it wasn't really a flop. It was because they were 50 for 3 and they became 80 for 4. But Shadab Khan, now see, this is so Kane Williamson is excellent against fast bowling, right? I mean, we talked about how great Shaheen Afridi and Haris Rauf are, but I do think, again, if Shadab Khan finds his mojo by this point in time, I think Pakistan's hopes will be a lot higher. And I think that's Kane Williamson's slight weakness, if there is a weakness, if you can call it a weakness, is against spin, especially wrist spin, quality wrist spin. So I think that trump card needs to come up top for Pakistan too.
Yeah, and I think just focusing on New Zealand and their perceived weaknesses, Tim Southee missing is a big loss. I think Trent Bolt is going to be available, but I think having Southee and Bolt, Ferguson's good again, but in Indian conditions, you never know. The quicker it comes, the quicker it goes. So
if ever there were a team that encapsulated the famous saying that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, it's New Zealand. Because they've got so many utility players, right? Players that some people call bits and pieces, but some people call utility and handy, three-dimensional players. They tend to come good. They tend to rally. You almost see like a rally happening where one is rallying behind the other and then they sort of just do the right things at the right time, right? And they somehow together, whether it's that team spirit, or whether it's, again, I keep talking about fielding and all that, or all these things put together, they just end up punching above their weight. I think personally, toss will still be important because I sense this may be a must win game for Pakistan. Must win game, we tend to struggle when chasing, but yet Bengaluru tends to have moisture earlier on. So it'll be very interesting to know what Babar does. I'm guessing Babar will lose the toss, and when he comes on, he'll be like, yeah, I would have done the same thing also, and then we won't know what he would have actually done.
The other thing I'd like to say about New Zealand is, look, not very fancy on paper, but the thing I'm really looking forward to is Jimmy Neesham and his tweets at the World Cup, because he is known for his entertaining social media profile.
I mean, that's why he's in the team, let's be honest. Please, that is why he's in the team. He bats decently well, but his bowling... But those tweets are legendary. I mean, is it him? Does he have a handle? Does he have some, like a PR team that does it? I don't know. But whoever it is, I mean... it is exceptional.
So Jimmy Neesham, if you're watching this, I'm sorry I don't have high hopes of your team from the World Cup, but you are definitely the champion in social media, and especially Twitter, or X, or whatever it's called now.
Yeah, but I mean, but let's not forget Jofra Archer. Can someone please dig up Jofra Archer's tweets from like 10 years ago, because he somehow has a knack of predicting Pakistan's fortunes in games through absolute... just chance, right? But anyways, look, we've got social media on one side, but I do think Pakistan should win the toss, bowl first. New Zealand are India's boogie team, but Pakistan have always got the better of New Zealand in World Cup games, barring 2011. I knew you were itching to just turn and talk about that, but no, we all remember Kamran Akmal's drops against of Ross Taylor when Shoaib Akhtar was bowling, and we all know what happened. 5 overs went for, I think, 100 or well, close to 100.
But yeah, so all in all, New Zealand, Pakistan to win. And where will New Zealand finish? I think by default, given where I've put the other teams, I just think Sri Lanka have the edge over New Zealand, and that's what's going to come down to, the game between those two. But I think New Zealand will probably finish 6th.
So you think 6? I'd be tempted to... Well... The thing is, I think it'll be a toss-up between New Zealand and Sri Lanka, but you think it's 5 and 6, I think it's 6 and 7 here, right? I think in these conditions, you might favour Sri Lanka at 6, but I just think when I say that, just thinking out loud here, I think New Zealand at number 7 feels too low, because they are a tournament team. So it may just be that I have to say New Zealand at 6, so you've got South Africa 5, New Zealand 6. And you've got Sri Lanka at 7.
Wow. And all the Sri Lankan fans have just cancelled us.
Yeah.
I still think they're going to finish 5th, maybe 4th as well. So well, none of them are, in our humble opinion, contenders for the World Cup. But speaking of contenders for the World Cup, let's move on to England.
England are a team, so I think that you'll know this, for all those who don't know, we run a spreadsheet. Where we put money and we have our predictions, and I've always gone with England to win, right? I let Zahid tell everybody about the results of the last 2 spreadsheets, but never mind. England, I think this time are exceptionally strong, but I just think India have one step, that extra X factor that England may lack in these conditions, right? I mean, there is a benefit, right? Home advantage does matter. The longer the game, the more it matters, right? So I do think there, I would say, England will either be losing finalists or losing semi-finalists. It's one or the other. But I think they're a solid team, right? I mean, the fact that you're thinking about whether Harry Brooks should make it in the team, and the fact that you drop Jason Roy just speaks volumes about this once-in-a-generation batting talent. Keyword batting. Bowling, without Jofra Archer, Mark Wood, injury-prone, especially in those hot conditions. I just think there's something lacking, although I think Adil Rashid will be a key factor here. Nobody ever talks about Adil Rashid that much, right? And I think he's such an important player, as he showed in the final.
Ask Iftikhar.
This is, and this is where I'm going to digress here, because I'm really going to go into this. And the reason I'm digressing is, Iftikhar was brought in when we all talked about matchups, and he was sitting with Shadab Khan, who's the best player of spin. And Misbah ul Haq, in one of those shows where he was an expert, was saying matchups. And I agreed with him, but I also got really annoyed, because when he was coach, he never listened to matchups. But anyway, sorry, I'm digressing. I'm descending into the bitterness coming out. But never mind. I think Adil Rashid is key.
I agree with Adil Rashid, but I also disagree with the point a lot of people are making is England's batting is ridiculously strong, which it is. I think they can chase down anything. But their bowling is not as bad as people are saying it is. Mark Wood is exceptionally good. Ask any Pakistan batsman. Not that that's the benchmark of who a good bowler is, but Mark Wood, his pace is. He showed that in the Ashes as well. Reece Topley is not a big name, but on his day he's pretty decent. He took 6-4 against India a couple of years ago, so he's not as bad as you think. That left arm angle will create great problems. And Chris Wokes, so again line and length. He doesn't have a very good record in India, but he's one who will probably not go for a lot. And you've got Adil Rashid and Moeen Ali in the spin department. And then let's see what Ben Stokes does. Does he bowl? Will he bowl? Maybe, if needed, he might.
I think there's a slight weakness, but you're right. I think the weakness isn't that much that the strength in batting cannot compensate for.
Sorry to interrupt. We're missing one very important player. Man of the tournament from the last World Cup, Mr. Sam Curran himself.
Oh my God. How did we forget Sam Curran? He doesn't have that express pace. I don't know, again, Melbourne, MCG, Australian conditions very different to India. So I think it's a question mark, although he's done well, I think, in some IPL seasons. Look, in any case, international cricket, world stage, World Cup cricket, very different. So in my view, I hope it's not going to be a must-win game for either. It almost certainly won't be for England, given how strong they are. But I hope if it is a must-win game for Pakistan, that it's not a must-win game for England and they rest Mark Wood. Let's face it, right?
Yeah, I think that's going to be a big thing. I think England, it will not be a must-win for England, which is why I'm actually favouring Pakistan to do well in this, and it probably will be a crunch game for Pakistan. Again, like I said, Mark Wood might not play. So I don't fancy Pakistan to win, but given all the circumstances, I'd back Pakistan to come good.
I think it's going to be England there, because I think, and this is my prediction, I think England will come good to the group stage, because I don't see Pakistan beating England twice in the same tournament. I think it's going to be England to beat Pakistan in this. I hope it won't be a must-win game. I mean, given if our predictions are right, it won't be a must-win game for either. And Pakistan will probably also use that as a chance to rest either Haris or Shaheen, and then hope that it doesn't affect their morale and momentum. But I suspect that England and Pakistan will face each other in the knockouts if they both make it. And I think they both may end up being 2 and 3, England and Pakistan respectively. And in the semi-finalists, I'm going to go with my heart and think it'll be a repeat of 2017 and Pakistan will come good.
Oh, wow. That's a spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. I could be so wrong here. But
I think I think Pakistan will win in the group stage, again, because England probably will be through. But Pakistan, I think England will reach the final. So I have them as losing finalists.
If are most likely to be right. My mind would say they're the two strongest teams. But I think my heart is just itching and telling me that I think, it's seldom has it happened that the two best teams going into the World Cup have both made the final.
There's always a New Zealand or Sri Lanka, but never a Pakistan.
Yeah, true. Something tells me that this time maybe England may sit out, but it's just a hunch. My mind certainly agrees with you, but I'm going to go with, if I had to go, let's do our ordering, right? Let's go. It's India 1, and this is ordering a league stage. India 1, England 2, Pakistan 3, Australia 4, because I think Pakistan will beat Australia. I think Australia just looking a bit weaker, but they'll still be good enough to reach the semis, knowing them. And then you've got South Africa, New Zealand, Sri Lanka, although it's very tight. And then you've got, I think it's Afghanistan, Bangladesh, and Netherlands, although I won't be surprised if Bangladesh and Afghanistan switch the other way. But I think that's what I'm going to go with. I think it'll be India, and I hope it'll be Pakistan in the final, but I think you may be right.
That's what I was going to say. So by your predictions, you're assuming an India-Pakistan final.
Which we lose. Don't worry. So everyone thinks I'm being very biased here. I don't see Pakistan coming back with the trophy. I hope I'm pleasantly mistaken. But I just, it's... what is your standing?
So I've got India to win, clear daylight. Then I have an India-England final. League stages, I have India, England, Australia, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, New Zealand, South Africa, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, Netherlands.
So you're expecting India-Pakistan semi?
Oh yeah, that's how it's worked out. But look, Pakistan will lose on the 14th, and Pakistan will lose. I have Pakistan as losing semi-finalists
So
anyway.
it'll be 9-0 by the end of this World
Sorry,
Cup.
I think so. Yeah, sorry, I think I predicted a Pakistan-England semi-final, but anyways, either way, Pakistan is going to lose the semi-final. India will beat Australia. England will beat Australia. It'll be an India-England final. Finally, we'll have two favorites in the World Cup final, and India to win the World Cup.
All right, so there you have it. That is our predictions. Zahid predicting that Pakistan will fall one step short of Ahmedabad. I'm predicting Pakistan with my heart. I have to caveat that Pakistan will make it to Ahmedabad but won't return home with the trophy. That's our predictions. Please let us know your thoughts. As always with cricket, you can never know. Predictions are just that. We'll have a lot more content coming your way as we inch ever closer to the showpiece event. Please stick around with us. Thank you.